Hi guys. Okay, so we are gonna go through this frequency distribution. I kind of gave it a start already, and then we're gonna take this frequency distribution that we talked about, and we're given an original list of presidents and the ages in which they were inaugurated. We're given 45 of them. So when we're told that we need 8 classes in this histogram and in this frequency table. So make sure everything is neat and proper labelly. So we find the smallest number in our list. So I'm going to find the smallest number, and that is 42. I think it was, where are you? I know it's somewhere. We have a 43, 49. The oldest was right now. Obviously, that's a little bit different with Biden now. He's a little bit older. And there's Teddy Roosevelt. He was only 42 years old when he was inaugurated as president. So we're going to take the range of the data, which is the highest value minus the lowest value. Okay, and that's 70 out of 42, and divide it by 8. And we get a class width of 3.5. But remember, whether it's 3.1 or 3.2, you always, always, always round up. So we're going to round up to 4. So our class width is now 4. Okay, so how do I set up my class limits? So first thing I do is each one of my classes I start off with the lowest class, the lowest number, right, which is 42. And then I add the class width, which is 4. So I go from 42 to 46, and I continue on down the line till I get to my last class, which is 70. All right. Now, class limits do not overlap. They are mutually exclusive. So my upper class limit has to be 1 less than what I have here. And then, so I start at 45, and then I just add 4 as I go down, which is the class width, right? And those are our class limits. So you should have class limits of 42 to 45, 46 to 49, 50 to 53, and all the way to 70 to 74. Now the next thing I have to do is my class boundaries. Class boundaries are a little bit more complicated in that they do overlap, and we use these for our histogram, right? Because our histogram, the sides of the histogram have to touch. So I go 0.5 below and above this guy, right? If it was, if this had a decimal in it, I would take it 1 additional decimal, 0.5 right there, right? So we're going to go ahead and put these in. I've already done, my focus is a little off. I'm sorry, guys. So I've already done the first 2. So this one's going to go to 49.5 to 53.5. And then 53.5 to 57.5. Then 57.5 to 61.5. 61.5 to 65.5. And then 65.5 to 69.5. And then 69.5 to 74.5. Okay, so far so good. The next thing we're going to do is our class midpoints. Now that is going to be our lines where we connect our frequency polygon. Okay, so by doing this, and I'm going to get my calculator out and I'm going to show you, I add these two numbers and divide by 2. So I do 42 plus 45. Help if I turn on my calculator. 42 plus 45, and then divide by 2, and I get 43.5. All right, let's keep going. 46 plus 49, and then we divide by 2, and that's 47.5. Now what you're going to probably notice is that I add 4 to each one of these, right? So as I add 4, I get 51.5, 55.5, 59.5, which makes sense, right? Because that's the class width. So this will be 63.5, 67.5, and the last one is 71.5. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do your tally marks, all right? So as I go through this list, I'm going to keep track of the tallies of each one of the presidents, right? So I'm going to start with this first one. So I have 57 as my first. George Washington was 57. So we're going to put a tally mark right here. Then John Adams was 61. Then we have 2 more 57s and a 58. Oops, 58's over here. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, and a 58, right? So go ahead and pause the video for a minute and do your tally marks, and then come back and check with me and see what you got. All right, so did you guys get them? Hopefully you got them. So I got a tally of 2, which gives me a frequency of 2. And then I got 7, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. Then I got 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 16 here. So that's 4, 5, 10, 15, 16. So this was 8, 16, 6, 1, 2, 3. So I did this on another sheet of paper so you guys could see it. So, but I wanted you guys to kind of do your tally marks. So when we summarize this, our total frequency should be 45, right? So we have 2, 7, 8, 16, 6, 3, 2, and 1. Now our relative frequency, when we do a relative frequency graph, we need that. What we're doing is we're taking our frequency and we're dividing it by the total. So our frequency is 2. So I do 2 divided by 45, and that gives me 4%. And I'm only carrying it to 2 decimal places. All right. 7 divided by 45 gives me a 16%. I'm rounding it, obviously, to 2 decimal places. 8 divided by 45 is 18%. 16 is 36%. 6 is 13%. 3 is 7%. 2 is 4%. And 1 is 2%. Now if I add up all these, they will add up to 1. Now finally we're going to do our cumulative frequency. So remember, that's just a running total. So we started off with 2, and then I add this frequency. That's 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 plus 16 is 33. 33 plus 6 is 39. 39 plus 3 is 42. And there we go, and we go to 45, right? So we should get to the total amount. All right. So now we've done our frequency distribution. Now make sure you have, if you don't have a ruler with you, make sure you're using this template that I gave you. We're going to first do our histogram, and then we're going to do our frequency polygon. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're using our frequency distribution to give us our frequency polygon. So remember, our first class boundaries are 41.5 to 45.5, and that frequency is 2. So this is what I do. Now I'm using just a straight edge here. So 41 to 45, so that's right here. And I'm going to draw a line right here at 2. So bear with me here. So here's 41.5 to 45.5. And there's our first one. So there's our, okay. So I'm going to try to use some straight edges with these. So we've got this and this right here. So then remember, our histogram, our sides touch. So the next one we have is a frequency of 7. So this guy, I'm going to line it up with 7. Sorry, so I'm going to line it up with 7. That's not working here. Let me do this. There we go. I don't know what it's doing here. I'm going to just go ahead and take away, this thing's kind of messing it up. So then we go to 7. So this one is going to go up to 7. Please use a straight edge. Okay. So here's 7. And so that's going to be our next one. Right here. Okay. Please use a straight edge though. Okay. Then the next one we have a 8. So we go to 8. That's just one more, I believe, which is right here. Remember, we're touching right here. Okay. Next one, we have a frequency of 16. So this one goes all the way to the top here, which I will do. I think I figured out a way to do this straight. So here's my straight line to 16. And we're going to do that again. Remember, all of your bars should be equal in width. And I've set this up, this bottom here, so that everything is equal in width. So the next one is a frequency of 6. Okay, so that's 6 approximately. And then we have a frequency of 3. And then we have a frequency of 2. And I'm lining these up. It's not as pretty as I'd like it to be. Make sure you do straight lines, okay, because you will be graded on that. And then the last one is 1. Okay, now what you're going to notice is that I have things going from the outside here. The reason why is because this is our histogram. This is what it should look like, all right? Now, to do our frequency polygon, we go from the midpoints, which are 43.5, 47.5. And if you notice, I have those written in here. So they are the midpoints of these, right? Now, the thing about a frequency polygon, though, is that it has to connect to the x-axis, right? We have straight lines that connect all these guys, right? So I go a class width from here to here and a class width from here to here. And I draw straight lines. Please draw straight lines. Don't go by what I'm doing here. And this is our frequency polygon. Okay. Now, like I said, when I grade this, I want to make sure you guys do straight lines from segment to segment. These should all be equal width. Make sure you label. This side will be frequency. And this side is going to be presidents' ages. And you can do president, and a title would be President's Ages at Inauguration. Not apostrophe S, it's S apostrophe. Okay, so that is kind of a quick version of what I want to see. Please remember, attention to detail is huge. Color is always nice and extra and much appreciated by your statistics teacher. So, but thank you. And then for those of you that are online, please submit this separately. I want the histogram submitted separately, the histogram polygon submitted as a separate, and then this is submitted as well. So they should match. So there's no reason why you shouldn't get 200% on these. I just want you to get through actually the experience of creating these graphs so that you're comfortable with them. And thank you again. Have a fantastic, fantastic evening.